So this afternoon, I'm going to make some bath bombs. Bath bombs is something that I absolutely love when I'm needing to relax in the bath, but they cost a lot of money, and so I found out that I could make them less expensively myself. Here are some of the tools that I'm using to make them. I have measuring cups and spoons. These are the molds that I'm going to use, and obviously a bowl. We've got citric acid, baking soda, some food coloring and water, and some lavender essential oil, which is what I'm going to use in this particular one. I've got olive oil and cornstarch and Epsom salts, and off in the distance the donkey talking to us. So the recipe calls for half a cup of baking soda, which we'll do first. It says to mix all of the ingredients, the dry ingredients, together before you put any of the wet ingredients in there. So that's going to be our first step. A quarter of a cup of of cornstarch. A quarter of a cup of Epsom salts. And a quarter of a cup of citric acid. One thing you'll notice about the ingredients that I'm using to make these bath bombs is that they're all very common ingredients and easy to get a hold of. I think the hardest thing was the citric acid, but I was able to get that off of Amazon very easily. I was able to buy the other things from the local store, that Walmart or a grocery store. So easy, inexpensive ingredients. Okay, next we're going to start putting in the liquids, and it calls for 3 to 4 teaspoons of coconut oil, but I'm actually going to use olive oil because I have this little container of olive oil that I'd like to use up. And 3 to 4 teaspoons is the same as a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more, so we're going to go with that. And just start stirring it while it goes in. The olive oil is going to dissolve with this into your bath water and just really make your skin a lot softer, and leave it like a little bit like you've had some lotion on. Next, it calls for 1 to 2 teaspoons of water. One of the reasons for mixing this constantly while you add the liquids very slowly is because the ingredients want to start bubbling up already when you're putting this in, so you don't want them to do all their bubbling in the bowl. Then we're going to want to put some essential oils in here and make it smell really good. The lavender essential oil is one of my favorites. I love to use lemongrass and peppermint. However, peppermint can be kind of strong on your skin when you're in the bath, and not so much your skin, but your eyes especially. You have to be careful with it around your eyes. Okay, for fun, we're going to add a little bit of purple food coloring to this, just because this is lavender and I want to make it look like it might be a lavender. And you don't have to add food coloring if you prefer not to, and you can add as many drops as you want to make it darker colored or lighter colored. This is just the for fun part. Okay, so as you can see, there really wasn't a lot of liquid added to this, but just enough to make it kind of a little bit damp and be able to pack together. There was 1 to 2 teaspoons of water, 3 to 4 teaspoons of olive oil, and then the food coloring. So this is not as dry, obviously, as it was. And now it's ready to pack into the bath bomb mold. Okay, this is the fun part. Taking the molds, I was able to get a pack of various sizes of molds. The first time I did this, I used the smaller, probably the medium-sized mold, and I didn't think that they lasted quite long enough fizzing in my tub. So I decided this time to use the bigger mold. I'm going to reach in here and scoop out a big amount so that it doesn't quite touch, and then squeeze it together, and that actually helps to make them touch together. Whoops, it's easy to do that where they come apart, but the recipe says to let them sit for about 5 minutes. I have been impatient and not wanted to do that in the past, so we'll see if I can get this out. I should have brought a plate out, but I'm going to just let it sit here on the table and start to dry and a little bit. I think the reason for letting it sit might have been so that they would be a little bit more solid and stuck together, but I found that I could get these molds off even while it was newly in the mold and keep it in its shape. So it looks like, I guess the reason I had used the smaller mold last time is because I was wanting a lot more of these. This larger mold doesn't make quite as many out of a recipe, but that's okay. I think I'll enjoy them a lot more. And one of the things that I also found out about these, because last time I made quite a few recipes of them and gave them away as gifts, and then I had a bunch left over that I forgot to use right away, and my kids didn't use them right away. And so a few months later, when I decided I'd like to have one, I found out that they actually had the oil in them had gone rancid. Well, that one just doesn't want to work. All right, it's time to test one of these bath bombs in some bath water. Here goes. It's bubbling away. I think it's lasting longer than the small ones did. Okay, out of one batch I was able to make 4 large bath bombs. One of them I left in the mold to see how that's going to work out. I was able to have a little left over that I'm going to sprinkle in my bath water tonight. Oh, it smells so good. I'm ready to go take a bath now. And all this making of bath bombs reminds me of another Bible verse. It's Psalm 51 verse 10. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Hope you guys have fun making bath bombs and enjoy them in your bath. See you again next time.